Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Inspire Nigeria. From the lineup of speakers, I can see that there are many amazing speakers that have been put together for this event. I'd like to say a very big congratulations and well done to Olalekan Odusanya. Well done, because it's not easy to put together an online event, and I know how it must have been at the back end. So well done for going through all that process. There's some growth that would happen in the course of doing something that we haven't done before. So if you are here, please say something to me in the comment section so that I'll be certain that you are here. Maybe you can say where you are watching this video, this broadcast from, just so that I have a sense of those that are in the room. Okay, so let me know. I can see Adekunle Ifatumo. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. So please tell me, Adekunle, where are you watching us from? My eyes are on the comment section on my laptop, so that I'll be able to keep abreast of what we are saying here. So please say something so that I'll be certain that you are here with me, and we will be starting shortly. When I saw the email that Oladeko said to me, he was talking about becoming secrets to achieving great feats you have always dreamed of. And it was quite interesting to me. Oh, Adekunle says I got the pronunciation of his name. Awesome. Hello, Comfort. How are you doing? Okay, so I can see my comment here also. Amazing. So he sent me that message saying that he wanted me to speak on becoming secrets to achieving great feats you have always dreamed of. Yes, that was the topic, and it made me do a little bit of reflection. And interestingly, my TEDx talk in 2019 is something along those lines. It's available on the TEDx channels, but today I'll just run us through the steps, some of the things that I have worked with, and how it has worked for me and other people who I've shared them with. So as much as I'll be telling you the steps or principles or stages, whatever you'd like to call them, I'll also try to give examples, real examples, so that you can see how relatable this thing is, and so you can also see that regardless of who you are, where you're from, your circumstances in life, you can actually become. And you have to become, because it is when you become that you'll be able to do efficiently. Many times people run around, they want to start doing, but you've got to become, because if you have not become, you won't really be able to do from a place of strength and from a place of ease. So you've got to become. Okay, so I'll just go on and start completely. Introductions first. So I've said hello to Adekunle, I've said hello to Comfort. Introduction. So my name is Ugochi Obi Diego. I'm the managing partner of a health and safety social enterprise called Ulomka. Many people know me as the safety chick because of the work I do in raising safety consciousness. So I started all that in 2016. And in the course of doing that, I became the author of a child safety storybook series. There are currently 3 books in that series. The book is available in English and French. It's self-published on Amazon. We've been able to sell it in several states here in Nigeria and also outside Nigeria in about, I think, 8 countries as at the last time I checked. Then I also wrote a book on personal brand, how to build. Thank you so much, Comfort. I wrote a book on how to build an internationally recognizable personal brand, leveraging on the things that have worked for me, how I went from being someone nobody really knew like that in 2016 to a brand that people are recommending the work of the brand in other countries. Yeah, so I have a book on that, and very recently, last month, I launched a Christian fiction story again, novel teaching principles using stories for young Christian women. Then I am a developer of social impact apps. So I have an app called the Safety Tree Compass, which is an online platform where we curated different safety content so that regardless of your location, African parents and teachers can have access to safety knowledge on the go. Then also last year I created another one called U Program, which is our online platform to train recovered drug users, upskilling them so that they can be reintegrated properly to society. Then of course I mentioned to you that what we're talking about today is one of the things I had discussed in my TEDx talk. So I'm a TEDx speaker. Now, the reason I had to, hello Chum Chum, you're welcome. So the reason I had to do that brief introduction, and I'm telling you several things I am doing, is because I need you to see that in 2016, none of those things existed. None of them. None. So yes, I was an intelligent girl. I was hardworking. I worked in an airline. I was popular because from secondary school, everybody knew me. University too, my people knew me. And then at work, I'm an exceptional person, right? So you would know me. But people who were outside those spheres did not really know me, right? So I now built something basically out of nothing, and it didn't just get known within Nigeria, it got known in other countries. It has received grants, it has received support, it has received collaboration, partnerships, it has gotten several kinds of recognition, most recently the one with the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights. The reason I am saying all this is not because I want you to clap for me or for you to become impressed. I want it to inspire you, because that's why we're here, right? To inspire us to greater heights. I want you to see that in 2016, none of this existed. But here, today, in 2021, March 2021, these things have happened, and more things are still in the pipeline. I still got a very fantastic email some days ago telling me about how I'd been recommended about top 25 women in a particular sector and how they were going to celebrate us and stuff like that. But those things were not there in 2016. So I'm going to walk you through the journey of how to become, how to go from not being, how will I call it now? How to go from zero. Just imagine that all of us are on ground zero, from zero to beyond. And the truth is, even if you think you are at the top of what you are doing currently, to get to your next level, you've got to still go through this process. I'm currently in that phase again where I'm transitioning into a new industry, I'm transitioning into a new level, and I had to go back to the base again last year, and then I'm working my way back to the top. So you can see that growth is not just you do it and it's all over. No, you keep growing. When you get to the top of the class of where you are, you have to go to the next class. Except you want to be the head girl in primary 6 forever, you have to go to JSS1 and start at the bottom of the food chain to get to SS3. Do you see what I mean here? All right, so I just had to run you through that. So now let's get to the main gist. So the first things first, what problem do you want to solve? What vision do you have? Whatever it is you want to do, whatever mark you want to make in the world, you've got to ask yourself, what problem does it solve? Because anything that is going to make you a person of influence, a person of impact, a person that is recognized by countries, by governments, by high-profile individuals, has to do with helping other people other than you and your family members. It's natural to want to help yourself. It's natural to want to help your family members. But when you're doing something that is going to help someone who may never, ever be able to help you back, who may never, ever be able to maybe even pay for the service, depending on what that is, then people would take a second look at you. And that is going to be how you grow, how you begin to make your mark in society. Now, when we talk about solving a problem, it doesn't mean that, you have to be an NGO to solve a problem. No. Even if you are offering a paid service, It is solving a problem. So you've got to identify, ask yourself, how does this solve a problem for somebody other than myself? How does it make life better for them? How is it attuned to the SDGs? Because again, remember, you want whatever you're doing to make you grow and become international. I believe that anybody can be international, and so that's why my book is How to Be That Internationally Recognizable Personal Brand. So always think big. How can what I'm doing here in Nigeria make a mark in the country, in the continent, and even in the world? Do you see what I mean? So what problem is it that you're trying to solve? So you've got to see, how does this now align to the SDGs? These are the global goals. Everybody in the world is trying to do something that aligns with that. You too, you should actually be doing something that aligns with that. Okay? So first things first, what problem are you trying to solve? What is your big vision for that problem? So remember, I mentioned that for everything I would say, I'm going to try to give you real examples so that you would see that this is not just tales by moonlight, So I had certain experiences in my life that made me decide I wanted to solve the problem of safety education. There's a deficit in the knowledge of safety in the country, and I decided I wanted to do something about it. Yes, thank you so much, Comfort, for writing that. So I decided I wanted to do something about it. Then I asked myself, as I began to do some work and I said, okay, so what exactly? I did not want people to keep on dying because of avoidable accidents. If you look around Nigeria, many accidents that happen around it, and even in most parts of the world, there are things that can actually be avoided. But maybe due to absence of knowledge, absence of systems, or negligence, things go wrong. And I kept saying that, and I just knew that, no, we can't continue like this, because I had worked in aviation and I had seen how, because we had safety systems in aviation, we had safety knowledge in aviation, to a really large extent, it reduced the amount of accidents we have in the aviation sector. And so I said, okay, if we're able to take safety knowledge also to the everyday man, for them to involve it in what they're doing, maybe, just maybe, this is going to reduce this tide. Because it doesn't make sense for families to keep on dying, and when you get to the bottom of the investigation, you see that it could have been avoided. So that was it for me. So ask yourself, what problem do you want to solve? And when I decided that I was going to solve this problem, as I started solving it, I uncovered a deeper problem, which is the fact that in our schools, these things are not even being taught. And so because they're not being taught, the people are not growing with that knowledge. People learn them later in life. And so that's a problem. And so I said, okay, we have to do something from the roots. We have to go back to the children. And I wasn't just looking at just Nigerian children. I said African children. So you can see I've talked about the problem I'm trying to solve. And then I'm also giving you an idea of the vision, how big I want this to go, linking it to Africa. Okay? Now the next thing is why? Why do you want to solve this problem? So like I mentioned to you as I was speaking now, I mentioned that I just didn't want people to keep on dying due to avoidable causes, because I knew it was avoidable. I mean, you can't work in aviation and not feel the sense. If it was not possible, we'll be having plane crashes almost every day, almost every week. But check it out. How many times do we have plane crashes? Maybe once a year. And that is usually when you do, like, you check across the world, right? And so for an industry to be that regulated, put all those systems, of course there will be mistakes here and there. Now imagine if it wasn't even regulated at all. So you've got to know your why. And the reason you need to know your why is because on the journey to becoming someone of influence, someone of impact, you are going to meet challenges. It's normal. Challenges help you to grow. You can't run away from them. So you've got to even be able to check what's your attitude towards challenges, okay? So you are going to meet challenges. Now, if your why is not strong, when those challenges come, you're going to tell yourself, I don't want to do this anymore. And if you do not do it, if you are not there trying to make your own mark in the world, trying to solve a problem for somebody, it means there is somebody that may never get the help that they need just because you did not show up. And that is not a good thought. That is why you must have a strong why. So that on the days when you are down, on the days when you are disappointed, on the days maybe you didn't make a sale, on the days when you didn't get funding, on the days when you're just depressed, yes, it seems like everybody around you is making progress and you're not making progress, and you're just like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. On those days, when you remember why you even started doing this, even though you would feel bad, even though you would feel down, you would also encourage yourself to continue. because you've got to be able to know the things that can recharge your batteries. You've got to be able to know the things that can rekindle your optimism, that can increase your motivation, that can inspire you to continue to go. If you don't know it, you are an endangered species, because trust me, challenges are going to come. So you've got to prepare before you find yourself in those challenges. So your why has to be strong. The next thing now is, what do you have in your hands? So number one is, what problem are you trying to solve, which is vision. Why are you trying to do it? That's your big why. Now the next thing is, what do you have in your hands now? Many times people have these big plans of the things they're trying to do. By the time they now check it out, try to count the costs, like, oh my God, this is too big. I can't afford to do this. This is beyond me. I don't have connection. I don't have family name. I don't have the money. You begin to see all the reasons why you cannot do it. Don't go in that direction. Instead of seeing all the reasons why you can't achieve it, flip it. What are the ways you can achieve it? What value do you bring? What value do you currently have that can begin to move you in that direction steadily? Because the truth is, at the beginning, you may not know enough, you may not have enough of anything, but you would start anyway. And as you go, you build. Many things that come easy to me now, in terms of maybe doing projects, creating and all that, it wasn't there at the beginning. Hello, testimony. It wasn't there at the beginning, but it came along the way. So you've got to know, what value do you bring to the table? What do you have in your hands currently? And do you know why that is important? It is because everybody on the surface of the earth is uniquely resourced. Every single person. So if you are thinking that, you don't have enough, so nothing can happen, that's a lie. It's so wrong. I do not think God would send anybody here without any single thing they can use to make an impact in their world. He's not a wicked person. No, he wouldn't do that to anybody. So ask yourself, what do you have currently? What can you do now that will begin to, at least they'll create the foundation for what you're trying to achieve? So when I started in 2016, we tried to break into certain schools to take the message of safety to them. They didn't open their doors. I sent emails, hundreds of emails to schools in Lagos, in Abuja. Nobody answered me. I'm telling you. They didn't answer me. The first time that we were able to get into any school was because a friend who had a friend that was teaching in a particular school opened that opportunity for us. And so I trained my first 100 students in that public school. I think it was somewhere in Surulere. Yes. So we started with 100 students then. Today, we have done over 7,000 in Nigeria and Ghana directly. I'm not even talking about those who have gotten our books indirectly in the US, in Canada, in the UK, in South Africa, in Zambia, in Zimbabwe. But we started with what we had. And when we started, all I did was, I had this outline. I had PowerPoint. I had an outline that I had curated of all the things I think children should learn about safety. And I started with that. By the next year, 2017, I wrote my first book. So I did not start with a book at the beginning. If you are lucky enough that at the beginning you have a book, it's fine. But I didn't have that. So the point is, you've got to ask them, what do I have now? I knew that I could sit down and think and create a plan. I knew that I could write a curriculum. I knew that I could speak. So I worked with what I had. But you see, in as much as we tell you to start with what you have, that does not now mean that you say, and they say what you have is good enough. What you have can start the job, but it will not finish it. So what you have is for you to start. Then as you go on, you add more. Do you see what I mean? Okay. Chum Chum says, how can we get your books, ma? Okay, if you just go to my website, www.ulomka.com/store, all my books are there. Even the link to Amazon is also there. So maybe at the end we'll still talk about that, but let's just focus. Okay, so what do you have in your hand right now? What value do you bring to the table? Are you good at writing? Are you good at speaking? Are you good at making things with your hands? Are you good at whatever that is? You've got to acknowledge that you even have it, because it's when you know what you have that you even know how to deploy it. And I can even give you another practical example. So last year we needed to start a program on substance abuse, and After I drafted up the plan of how this thing is going to go, it's a three-pronged approach, fantastic arms and everything, I saw that we didn't have enough resources to do everything. We didn't have even the financial and non-financial resources. But there was one part that we could start from. So I took that one part and I started from it, and we have started making incremental progress in that direction. So you would not have everything at the beginning, but look around, start with the one that you have, and then as you go, you can now add more things. Okay? Now, after that, the next thing is when the going gets tough. Olakule Shoriyan will say, the tough seek collaboration. But the popular thing we always say is when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And that is because, remember I mentioned to you that you're going to meet challenges, right? Challenges are going to come. But when they come, you've got to have what I call grit and resilience. You've got to have your bounce back ability game should be 100. I know that many times it can be very depressing. You've applied for something, you've tried all sorts, it's not working, and you're just like, oh my God, you're just like, everybody's going ahead, I can't make it. I know it can feel so overwhelming and all that, but no, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel bad. It's even okay to cry if you're a crier. Sometimes I cry, and crying is good. But you see, when you finish all that drama, you get up, you make up if you're a lady, and you show up. You do what you need to do, because everything is going to add up. It may not look like it now, but trust me, it will add up. That's my work is recommended by people in Germany to their member countries. It's because the work added up. From 2016, 2017, 2018, and in 2019, it was recommended as good practice by the European Network of Education of Occupational Safety and Health. So you've got to have grit. You've got to be resilient. Yes, things would hit you left, right, and center. Man up, woman up, or human up, like one of my friends would say. Okay? So don't allow things to hit you and then you go down. No. You've got to have grit. You've got to be resilient. You know, it's just like when you go to when you see a tree swaying, the wind blows, it bends, but then it comes back up. Yes, that's how you should be. Your bounce back ability game should be really on point. And like I was saying earlier, you've got to know the things that recharge you, the things that encourage you, the things that push you back. Because if you don't know them, the day you fall, nobody will be able to help you, and you can't even help yourself. So when the going gets tough, the tough get going, the tough seek collaboration. And talking about grit and resilience again, and I mentioned that you should know what helps you. You should know how to maximize your support systems. Sometimes the support systems can be family members, it can be friends, it can be God, it can be communities. There's certain communities that, people can feel free to share your struggles, your pain, your wins, your successes, everything, because it's all part of the mix. Nobody has it all 100 every time. There were times I felt really down. In fact, I remember, I think it was 2016 or 2017. One day I was just lying down on my bed and I'm like, I can't continue sharing all this on social media, teaching. It doesn't look like anything is going on. And guess what? That very day, someone sent me a message on Instagram and she said, we've been seeing the work that you're doing. We'd like to invite you to come and facilitate a session and so, and this is what we're going to pay and all that. Imagine, the very day I was getting discouraged. So sometimes there are several things, and also that day somebody from a community that we're part of also reached out. We discussed the highs and lows of doing all this kind of stuff, and it was encouraging. So don't try to be a superman or a superwoman by yourself. Nobody's supposed to exist in isolation. Get help, as much as you can. Okay, so all this is buttressing the point that you've got to have grit and you've got to be resilient. And please try not to have an entitlement mentality. There are people that are not going to help you because maybe they don't like you, or because maybe they just don't feel like you know what you're doing, and they need to be sure that you know what you're doing before they can support. And it's not a bad thing. And also there'll be those who would not support because maybe they just want to show you that They can have something and not help you. But that's not your business. They help you, they don't help you, whatever, move on. Don't feel entitled to their help. There are many people that maybe when initially I reached out, they did not ask. Even today, there are people that will still not ask. And it is fine. It is fine. Don't feel entitled to get help from anybody or any organization. If they work with you, it's fine. If they don't, it's also fine. When a door closes in your face, instead of you to stay there feeling sad and building a whole mountain there out of a molehill, look for other ways to get what you need done. If you see it as redirection, as an opportunity to re-strategize, you would maximize that opportunity well, and it might even lead you to things you didn't even think were possible. But if you were thinking, it's the end of the world, they didn't help me, you just stay there wallowing and time is going and you're not achieving what you're supposed to achieve. Okay? So make sure that you are not feeling entitled to any help. Focus on what needs to be done. Make sure that your grit and resilience game is on point. Then the next thing is, he that knows not and knows not that he knows not is what we always say is a foolish man. So this brings me to the next point, which is capacity development. Your personal development game should be 100. You can see, everything should be 100, 100, 100. There's no room for 50. You can start out doing 50, but the goal is to grow. From 50 to 100, from 100, like that. You just keep growing. Okay? So you've got to learn. You've got to be willing to learn. Because you see, as you start doing something, right? We're talking about becoming, right? Secrets to achieving great feats. As you start doing those things, you would realize that you don't know so much. Or you will see that for the next level you need to get to, you need to upgrade your knowledge. And so for that to happen, you've got to learn. How can you learn? You can learn through courses. Go online, there are courses there, or you go register at a school, a proper school, and study something in the direction of where you're going. There are also coaches. Coaches are a fantastic way to, bridge your learning curve. Many things, I am a product of good courses, coaches, mentors, and communities. They are so important. When I started this journey, I didn't know jack. I won't even lie. I didn't know anything about running a business or a social enterprise, or I didn't know all those things, but I learned on the go and see how well things are turning out and shaping up. And this is still just the beginning, because you see, as you grow, you have bigger plans, you have bigger visions, you have other things that you really want to do, and you now see how for you to get there, you need to acquire more knowledge. Do you see what I mean? Yes. So you've got to be willing to learn. So you can learn with courses. You can learn through coaches, sign up for certain coaching programs. I have 2 major coaches in my life. One is a man, the other one is a woman. And many of the things I've achieved today is courtesy of being under their tutelage, So coaches are very important. Also communities. Communities could be online or offline. They're very fantastic online communities here on Facebook or whatever platform you're watching on. There are tons of amazing communities where you can learn. Then there are physical communities. So I know there's the Yali Network. I've benefited so much from the Yali Network. I've been a part of their Regional Leadership Center, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, and even the Face-to-Face Network in Lagos. And of course, the amazing groups on Facebook, like your group, this group, and there's Head Start Africa, and several amazing platforms like that. So when you are in those communities, you will meet people from different backgrounds, people with different experiences and expertise. And your goal is to pick up as much as you can from that opportunity, because remember, the goal is to learn, the goal is to grow. Okay? So I've talked about courses, I've talked about coaches, I've talked about communities, mentors is also there, and then of course you've got to read books. And you're not only reading books, you're reading documents, you're reading journals, yes, you're reading articles, because many times there's a lot of information there. I learned something from someone in 2019, and he said that the best way to be on top of your game in terms of personal development, learning about several topics across the world, is by reading a newspaper. If you commit to reading a newspaper every day, you would learn a lot about different areas, because he was explaining that different journalists, they're writing from their different worldviews, their academic backgrounds, their experiences, and then they condense it to talk about it, channeling it to a particular theme or topic. So when you read that article, you have a glance into how the person's mind works, where the person is coming from. Now imagine reading several articles from those kinds of people who have done all the hard work, all the research, and they have distilled it, and then you are now reading. You see that you get a whole world of information just by reading the newspaper. So that's a hack for you. If you don't really have time to do a lot of book reading, newspapers are a great way to go. Then there is this channel on YouTube called Productivity Game. I love it so much. When you go to Productivity Game, every book there has been condensed to about 7 to 11 minutes. So probably you don't have time to read the entire book. Just go there and read a book summary. Then if you really love it, then you can actually get the entire book. But you get to kill, how do we say it again, 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay? So you've got to be intentional about your growth. You've got to read and stop waiting to get everything for free. There are things you need to pay for. I have a document on my laptop. It's tagged, my Google Docs is tagged in self-education notes. So last year, because I remember I mentioned that I'm pivoting to another industry and I'm learning. So I gave myself my own curriculum and I went online, looked for courses that matched it, and I started taking them. And you need to see my notes. You think I'm at actual university, because I'm intentional. I know what I want, right? So that is how you should also be. You've got to be intentional about your personal development, increase your knowledge. And then, of course, the next thing is excellence and diligence. So a refresher, starting from the top, to become. You need to know, what is your vision? What problem are you trying to solve? You also need to know, what is your why? Why are you doing this thing? The next thing is you need to ask yourself, what do you currently have in your hands right now? What value can you bring to the table? And I said that is because each and every one of us is uniquely resourced. And then after that, the next thing is grit and resilience. Grit and resilience, because the going will get tough. Nothing is handed to you so smoothly. You've got to work. You've got to work for it. And in the course of working for it, you're going to meet hitches. So when you hit those hitches, those bumps, those obstacles, you've got to be able to still rise and do what you need to do. And then I just finished talking about capacity development. You have to learn. Like learning, you can't outgrow learning. You can't. You've got to be willing to learn. Learn through coaches, learn through courses, learn through communities, learn through mentors, and learn through books. And I just gave it the hack from someone I met in 2019 who said, read newspapers. Okay, and so the next thing now is excellence and diligence. So you see, no matter what has been handed to you, no matter how small it is, you've got to do it as if you're doing it for the president of a country. Yes, it's so important. No time for shoddy job. Don't say, until we hit 1,000. No. Even when it's one person, do it like your life depends on it. I started out with training 100 students. I prepared my PowerPoint. Even though when we got to the school, there was no light and we couldn't do the PowerPoint. But I prepared. I did what I was supposed to do. And I made sure that I delivered quality stuff to them. That is the attitude you should have. For everything you would do it so excellently that when people would bring together the whole picture of everything you have done, it is just flawless. You just like, oh my God, she's such an excellent person. So last month, I organized a book launch and it was online. And, someone said to me that she watched that recording on YouTube 4 times because she was just awed at the flawless delivery. Yes, because anything I'm going to do, even though I will not have 1 million views, even if it is 1 view, I don't care. I will do it very well because I know that there will be a day something would happen that would cause a flood of people to check that thing. And I want when they go and check it, they will see that as at the time it was done at the best possible level. And that is what you should aspire towards. People should look at the book you wrote in 2017 and say, okay, so this might be 2025, but as at 2016 or as at 2017, this was good stuff. So you've got to be excellent at what you do. And you know what the Bible says, I'm a Christian, whatever your hands find to do with all diligence. And then it also says, you stand before kings and not just mere men. right? So yes, excellence is a no-brainer, and that excellence is one of the things that I shone through in why I got featured by the United Nations earlier this year. Now the next thing is, with great blessing comes great responsibility. So you've got to expand and collaboration. So that point you can target expansion and collaboration. Why is this important? So as you begin to become, you begin to do those little things I have said you should do. You begin to do them excellently. Your why is strong. Your vision is clear. You have grit and resilience. You have faced obstacles, but you kept bouncing back and doing the things you were supposed to do, and you kept doing them excellently. What would happen is opportunities will now begin to gravitate towards you. When they come, take them. Take them, then use them to take what you're doing to the next level. So for me, 2018 was the beginning of the best years of the work I was doing, because in 2018, within 48 hours, I got on the Mandela Washington Fellowship list and I got on the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship list. And these were things that many young people were looking for at that time. And I knew that this is a blessing, right? I get for Tony Elumelu, you were going to get $5,000 in funding. For the Mandela Washington Fellowship, I was going to be flown to the US to study at a US school funded by the United States, right? Now, this is a blessing, but I chose to be responsible with this opportunity that had been handed to me. So with the $5,000 from the Tony Elumelu Foundation, we're able to plow it into the work and create our animation. We created the trailer of our animation, and we're able to organize one of our events for teachers in that year. Because when opportunities come to you, it's not just for you. It's because through you, it's going to get to so many other people. And you see, that is how you make your mark. I go to certain places, I don't really know people, but they know my name. Because either they have attended a training I have done, or they heard about me, or they saw something, and that is just it. So your blessing does not come for you to now say, oh yes, we have arrived. You have not arrived. You've not arrived anywhere. No. You're supposed to use it responsibly. For the US trip, I didn't just go there and just have fun only. Yes, I had fun, but I learned, I networked. As of today, this is 2021, I'm still working with my classmates from South Africa, Rwanda. In fact, the School Safety Summit for this year, 2 of them are featured, Kenya and Rwanda. An opportunity came some weeks ago and I recommended the one from South Africa. So currently my organization is partnering with the one in Guinea. So do you see, because when you make use of your platforms, the collaboration, the opportunities that you get with, it's going to help many people. Through that fellowship, through being there, I learned that my book had to be in French so that it was going to be available for children in French-speaking countries. If I was just doing my own one-man squad, I wouldn't have met them, to know that this was important. So, with great blessing comes great responsibility. So you might be thinking, so how do you get like-minded people to collaborate with? There is a website called opportunitydesk.org. I always mention them every time I talk about this. There are tons of opportunities for young people. And whether you have a rich parent or not, whether you come from a privileged background or not, as long as you do good work, when you apply for these opportunities, you would stand out. And when you stand out, you will get them. When you get them and you get into that place, you've got to be a person of value to the people that you meet there. You've got to build relationships, because after the event is over, these are the people you are going to work with. You want to wake up one day in your future and know that, in every country you go to, you have somebody there. If somebody needs to do something in so and so country, you know who you can recommend. People call me a super connector. That's one of my superpowers. And I decided to be that person because I realized that many people who do not come from privileged backgrounds, they lose out on certain opportunities because nobody knows about them and their work at the table where decisions are being made. So I decided I was going to know what people are doing, and I'll get myself into tables, get myself on platforms, so that when I get there, when they say who can do, before you even finish asking your question, I have people to nominate for you, because that is how we would grow. Do you see what I mean? So make sure that you are bringing that value to the table. So collaborate, get on platforms like that, show that you have value, collaborate with them, and think of the big picture. Because you see, as you do those connections, those networks, those leveraging those platforms, the people who are supposed to benefit from you, the people whose problem you are solving, would benefit from what you are doing. So now our book would have the reach. We've printed the French book, and the distribution is going to happen sometime this year. We're going to be doing that. And that is because that opportunity was leveraged. So because I want to reach African children, leveraging this opportunity for real, more African children, not just Nigerian children, will have access to this safety education resources that we are creating for them. So collaboration and expansion, because you see now as you grow, you will see that, okay, so we're doing this thing in just maybe Surulere. Now we need to scale it to Surulere, Maryland, Ikorodu, Badagry. Okay, we're doing this in just in Lagos. Okay, now we need to do Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja. Oh, we need this in just in Nigeria. It's time to do South Africa, Zimbabwe, Uganda. So you can see that you are becoming, you are growing, and that's why if you notice some of the top people that you admire, they have very important networks across several countries. I would give you the example of a lady I love so much. She's one of people I look up to, my mentors. Her name is Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the new DG of the WTO. Did you observe that whole process of the race to that office? Did you see how individuals from different countries were endorsing her? Did you see how governments from several countries were endorsing her? That shows you somebody that was deliberate about building her networks on the several platforms that she came on. She leveraged it. She did good work. So they experienced her professionalism. They also experienced her character, her person. And so it was easy when she needed to do something on the world stage for them to speak up for her. That is the kind of person you should be. With great blessing comes great responsibility. Now, I've said so many things. I've talked about what problem you're trying to solve, why you want to solve it, the value you bring to the table. I've talked about grit and resilience. I've talked about being excellent and diligent. I've also talked about capacity development. I've talked about collaboration and expansion. Is all this thing I'm saying, is it easy? Of course not. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But you can see everybody isn't doing it. That's why everybody isn't at the top. But if you do it, I can, how do I say this now? If you do it, it is totally worth it. Because it's so easy to suddenly sieve you out from the crowd. It's so easy that you are just in your house or in your office, minding your business, doing your own work, and the emails keep coming. So let me gist you about the UN thing. So a friend who knew about my work received this email that they were looking for people who were doing work at the front lines in COVID, and people should recommend people and ask them to fill a doc. And she sent the email to me. How did she know me? Because I do my work and there is proof, there is track record. So when she saw an opportunity that looked like me, it was so easy for her to recommend me. In fact, she recommended me first before she realized that even she too could take advantage of the opportunity. So she also eventually got in on that opportunity too. Anyways, we were shortlisted, several of us from across the continent, because it was focused on women in Africa working on the front lines in COVID. And they sent a message to us, okay, so you've been shortlisted, we're going to be featured, the book launch is going to happen on so and so date, send corrections and blah, blah, blah. And I sent corrections after going and looking through what they had written, what they had finalized about me. And they sent me back a message and they said, we really like your story. We would like you to come and speak about it at the launch of the booklet. And I'm like, of course. I mean, this is a UN platform. Why wouldn't I do that? And so I agreed to do it. And a few weeks after, I get another email saying, we still really like your story. Would like to feature it on the website, the official homepage of the UN OHCHR. So, at this point, I was curious to know why they kept sending emails back to me. And I went to check what I had sent to them. And then I could see that it wasn't just one thing I had done. It was how the excellence with which I had done several things. So when the whole story was woven together, it just presented a picture of somebody who knew what she was doing with her life. And so they were impressed. The emails kept coming. I didn't have to solicit for it. I didn't have to do anything shady. It came. The email I got some days ago also, it came. I didn't know those people were planning to do something. It came. So when you begin to do things exceptionally, the opportunities would gravitate towards you. You won't be chasing them. The emails would keep coming. The phone calls would come. The SMSs would come because you are standing out. You are becoming someone. You are not yet there, but you have gone farther from the crowd. And that is what everybody listening to me should aspire towards. Try to make sure that you do not stay stagnant, that you keep growing, you keep beating your previous best. So something might have been so fantastic in my life in 2017, but today in 2021, it's not enough anymore because the vision is bigger, the plans are bigger. So I hope that with these few points of mine, I've been able to encourage you that it is possible for you to become that. These secrets, they are not really secrets. These are things, simple things that if you were to commit to doing regularly, it's going to make a tremendous difference in your life, and you will just go from here to here. So thank you all so much for listening to me. If you have questions, this is the time to ask. And yes, if you have contributions too, this is also the time to share that. So it's my turn to listen to you before I have to run. I think I have something at 8 o'clock also. Okay, so let me see. Do we have any comments? Checking here on my laptop also to see. Okay, so going through the comments, I can see Ajamu Samuel Ayomide says, perfectly said. Olalekon says, when going gets tough, the tough seek collaboration. Comfort says, don't allow things hold you down. Excuse me, man up, woman up, human up. Yes, with great blessing comes great responsibility. Awesome. So any questions? Contribution. If we do not have, it means I can sign off. It means we've come to the end of this episode. Oh, okay. Chim says the link I shared earlier. Okay, let me see if I can write it in the comment section for you here. www.ulomka.com/store so that it takes you directly to the store, and you will see the several books that are there and other things. Okay, any other question? Thank you so much, Chum. Sarah says, thank you so much for this session. I'm going to woman up. Yes, awesome. Bisiriu says, is there a way we can reach you? Probably you drop your handles or website. Okay, so typing again in the comment section. My IG is at IG and Twitter actually is at the safety chick without a K. I have a page right here on Facebook called The Safety Chick also. Then on LinkedIn, my name is the same as my name on Facebook. The Safety Chick for Instagram and Twitter. Let me just write this here. Safety Chick for Instagram and Twitter. Facebook and LinkedIn is Ugochi Obidiegwu, and LinkedIn is Ugochi Obidiegwu. Websites. I'll give you my business's website because from there you can see every other thing. Website is www.ulomka.com. gmail.com. What else again? What else? Email. Okay, email is don't worry, when you get to the website you will know how to find me via email. Okay, so I've sent that there. Okay, any other question before I have to run? I hope this has been a good one for you. If this has been a good one for those of you saying thank you, please just share with me in the comment what is your highlight, what is your biggest takeaway, what is the one thing you do not want to forget, even if you forget every other thing I've said. What is the one thing you do not want to forget? Please share that with me. I'll be reading. Let me see. Okay, waiting for your comments before I have to run. Okay, Chim Chim says, please share the website on collaboration groups. Okay, it's not collaboration groups. Opportunitydesk.org is a website where young people can find all sorts of opportunities. So whether you want scholarships, fellowships, competitions, what else again? Sometimes I'm not sure if they put some vacancies there, but when you just go to that website, it's arranged accordingly. So you just check, pick anyone, and then you do what you need to do. Yeah, so I'm going to write that www.opportunitydesk.org. Okay. Testimony says your bounce back ability game 100. Like it should be 100. Yes, I know that things can be tough. Everybody feels bad. But when you finish feeling bad, you just brush it off and do what you need to do. Yeah, Bisuri says when the going gets tough, the tough seeks collaboration. So let me just give you one small gist. So in 2017, I knew that one of the ways I had hacked was a great way to teach safety to children was using entertainment methods. And I had seen my strategy, it had worked with the storybooks, so I wanted to create a game for children. I did the costing and it was expensive, so I knew I couldn't foot it by myself. I started trying to get grants for it. I applied. I have a Google Doc. As I'm talking to you now, that Google Doc is still here on my laptop. So the name of the game and everything, how it's supposed to be. It didn't happen. I kept trying, and so I just left it and focused on doing other things. Guess what? Last year, in a pandemic, the idea came back again that you can actually still do a safety game for COVID and all that. By now, I had met somebody and had worked with someone who runs an educational tech company. So they create educational games. So I just reached out to her because we had built a relationship now. I just sent IG DM her. This is what I'm thinking. I think we should work together. And she was like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. Let's do a meeting. Sharp. We did WhatsApp meeting. Next thing, we created a plan. Within 1 week, the demo of that game was live. By the end of 2 weeks, the entire game was ready to go to the public. We launched that game in September of last year. Something I had been trying to do since 2017 got done faster and less stressful, courtesy of collaboration. So collaboration is so good. I always say you do half the work, but you get twice the impact. And half the work does not mean that you're going to be lazy, you will not do your part. No. Your own part, because it's like 50-50. Your own part, your 50, you will do it to 100%. The other person will do their own 50 to 100%. By the time it comes together, you guys will do amazing stuff. So don't try to want to do everything by yourself. Ask yourself, who can I work with? The drug abuse program that we are running, I just had to become a middleman. I reached out to organizations who had finished training, treating the recovered drug users. I reached out to organizations who had online digital training, and I created a platform that brings both parties together. I didn't have to start creating the digital courses. I didn't have to start paying for or treating the drug users. I just had to be the connecting point. So anything that you're trying to achieve, ask yourself, who can you work with to make this thing easy? Who can you work with to make it happen easily, quicker, and managing resources as much as possible? Okay? Don't be the weak link. All right. Another person says, okay, with great blessing comes great responsibility. Bisirius says, And also what you said about being intentional about your personal development, very important. Chin Chin says, I would love to have a physical conversation with you. When you say physical, like you want to meet me in person, like in real life, or you want us to talk over an online platform. So that's actually a paid service, right? If you want like a one-on-one, there on my store you would see one-on-one strategy session is there. However, if you have a specific question that you would like to ask, you can send a message on any of the platforms that I have mentioned, and we will see how that works. If it is something that I can just do off the cuff, or if it is something that requires sitting down and curating a strategy, a plan for you from the beginning to the end, because that's what I do in my strategy sessions. I sit down with the person, we go through what are you trying to achieve, then we create a plan, a roadmap of what to do, and then we give you to go and execute. Yeah, so that can be done. Then Bisuri says, I've always had an idea of what to do, but for some reason I'm in a state of no activity at the moment. The business idea is more or less on hold because my career path took a turn. What do you think I should do in the meantime while I wait to finish what I'm doing at the moment? Learn as much as you can. Learning can happen in different ways. Learning can happen, with you doing your own personal study. Learning can also happen by volunteering in the kind of organization you would like to work with, or interning with them for a period. And this might not be a paid service. You might need to sacrifice, but learn. The thing about those kind of opportunities is as you learn, you'll be open to things you never even thought were possible. You begin to see things from a different perspective, and so it helps you to now arrange yourself. The thing I really wanted to do I really still want to do it? Or based on this new knowledge I've acquired in this experience, is there a way to switch things up or change it? Do you see what I mean? So learning can never be a waste. Whatever you have imputed into yourself, nobody can take it away from you. So instead of just swallowing, just waiting, wait productively. There's such a thing as that. I'm currently in a waiting season for something I'm trying to achieve, and I'm not just waiting, not doing anything. I'm doing a lot. Like currently, I'm in one of my coach's office, and we've been doing some work, some brain work, creating some fantastic stuff and all those kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm waiting productively amongst the other things that I do. So wait productively, learn, commit to learning, learn as much as you can. Use the YouTube hack, productivity game, use a newspaper hack, read books, give yourself your own curriculum. Where do you see yourself? That thing that you want, how can you create a curriculum to start studying about it? Where can you intern? Where can you volunteer? Take advantage of learning as much as you can in this period. It would never be a waste. Okay, any other question before I have to run? Okay, seems like we do not have more questions. If we do not have more questions, this means that I'm now free to take my leave. So thank you all so much for paying attention to me today. Thank you for engaging in the comment section. Thank you for asking your questions. I hope that this has been so useful to you, and I hope that you would go on to begin to implement them. It's not enough for you to just learn, just listen to me. I would prefer if in the coming weeks, in the coming months, in the coming years, you would reach out to me one day and say, oh, after you said this, I did that, and today this is what has happened. I'll be so happy to hear it. So thank you all so much for listening to me, and bye.